Peninsula, the sequel to the zombie film Train to Busan, directed by Sang Ho Yoon, stars Dong Won Gang and Young Hyun Lee, and it takes place 4 years after the events that occurred in Train to Busan, where we're following a soldier who, after trying to save his family by any means necessary, is forced to go back to the peninsula to recover some lost items for someone. While he's there, he comes face to face with his sins and has to decide what type of man he wants to be. There's no other way to slice this cake, guys. This one was a disappointment. Let's get into it. So, I'm sure all the horror fans out there have seen or at least heard of Train to Busan, the 2016 South Korean zombie horror film that basically took our world by storm. This was a zombie movie like no other, honestly. I mean, I cried. I cried for a zombie movie. That's what Train to Busan did to me. I couldn't believe it. It was action-packed. It was so well acted. And the emotional beats were strong. This was a zombie movie that focused on human characters in a way that we had never seen before, while still delivering all the thrills and insane adrenaline action that a zombie movie can. So to say we were excited for Peninsula is a bit of an understatement, guys. Everybody I knew could not wait for this movie. It honestly, with everything that's been going on, this was one of the few bright lights to look forward to in 2020. And then I saw it. This weekend, I sat and I watched this movie. And 30 minutes in, I was in denial. I could not believe this was the same director, same talent was behind this. I want to believe something happened with the studio and the producers to make this all go wrong. So let's get into how badly this thing went off the rails, guys. And I'll start with the action of all things. Now, the first movie, if you've seen World War Z and Train to Busan, there's some similarities there with their horde of zombies. You know, these zombies, since 28 Days Later, you know, any rage-infested creatures tend to run at you at 60 miles per hour, you know, bringing up that tension and adding to that, those thrills and that adrenaline. They did that there, but what they also did, they had these really cool moments with people who, contortionists I should say, people who can bend their bodies and they're double jointed and triple jointed and all this sort of thing, and it's added this super creepy messed up element that I loved. There's a little bit of that here, but there's just nowhere near enough. Everything here, all the action sequences play out like video games. It's really over the top. You sit there and it's all happening, and because it doesn't look that good and it doesn't look that quote unquote real, I was just completely disconnected from what I was seeing, right? I've played video games that actually mimic this sort of thing. I was thinking of Left 4 Dead the entire time I was watching any of the action sequences here. So it left me numb. I never really felt any true sense of dread, except maybe in the final act, which we'll get to. I never felt any fear for the people that were involved, and the ones who did get knocked off, unlike Train to Busan, there was no emotional connection. I never spent much time with these people. I had no idea what their true stories or motives were, so when they died, I did not care. The lead here, wow, talk about a misstep. I'm not familiar with the actor's work, but at the same time, I want to believe he's a really talented guy. I'm sure he is. So to see this person in this role and you're just not feeling any connection with this lead, guys. He's there. I guess he's trying to do the whole stoic, kind of quiet man, carries a big stick sort of thing. It doesn't work for me, you know, especially we see how his story starts, and it starts really strong. We see a man who's made some really big mistakes and he regrets them, you know, but the guy playing his brother-in-law is giving me so much more emotionally than the lead. everybody is outpacing this guy. Everybody is giving me more energy. The bloody cookie cutter villains are giving me more energy. I will get to them. So for this person to be leading this movie, and I don't care one bit about what happens to him, that's a huge misstep. The other actors here, the villains, they're not even, I mean, in the first movie, I'm gonna keep doing this, guys, but in Train to Busan, the people that were quote unquote villains, right, in that movie, they weren't evil, they were just scared. They were humans making rash decisions based on fear. And we could, even as much as you want to dislike them, and as much as you're probably looking at them and like, oh, the reality, the truth of the situation is, if you were in their shoes, you might make similar mistakes. You might make similar decisions. And I could relate to that. I could relate to them. I could understand even if I didn't approve of what they were doing. These guys are just disgusting, sweaty, gross, Walking Dead rejects type of people, you know. They're not the, I've never connected with any of them. I never had any reason to give a damn that they went off the rails. They were like Mad Max, like the people in Mad Max, Kermit people. I don't care. Okay, you just cannon fodder. That's all you are. And that's so sad, you know. I got nothing from these guys. I just did not care. The only actors in this who saved me from just completely falling asleep on this film was the actresses, I should say, that played the mother and the two young daughters. They were the heart of this, and I was actually writing an entire movie in my head around these three people, because Peninsula, in my opinion, could have easily have focused on the people stuck in that situation, the people who were cut off from everywhere else. They got left behind, you know, and they have to survive. And here's this mother and her two daughters, and they're crazy militia types running around, and she's raising two children there for 4 years and trying to find a way to get out. That's your movie. That's it. That's everything you would need right there. And the actress, she's so good. The kids are likable, you know. Yeah, they could be a bit, you know, precocious, but they're likable. And I would have watched an entire 2-hour long movie focused on their survival and them trying to get out to the peninsula. That would have been it for me right there, because they could carry this. They really could. So overall, guys, I don't even want to recommend watching this, honestly, unless it's out of curiosity. This feels like a sci-fi movie of the week type of zombie flick, and it shouldn't be. There's just so much talent behind the creation of the first one. If anything, I'm gonna recommend to you another Korean zombie movie that I caught same weekend, called #Alive, or Alive, you know, if you want to cut out the hashtag. And it's a movie about a young man who an epidemic breaks out in his city. People get violent and start attacking each other, and he's forced into self-isolation in his own apartment. He's stuck there without his family. His only connection to the outside world is social media, for however long that lasts, and we get to see how that isolation starts to affect him, especially when the social media aspect starts to cut out. Guys, that was a much better zombie movie than Peninsula was. Much better. Not only does it tackle topics that people are dealing with right now, with quarantining and the fear of this deadly pandemic that's going on, and being outside and not knowing how to defend yourself from that, but we also get to see the impacts, both positive and negative, that social media and online presence can have on a young person, can have on people in general. So, and it doesn't feel preachy, I promise you that. There's nothing preachy about it. The zombies look really good here. The makeup is well done, especially if they close up on them for long periods of time. It started to freak me out a bit, because they have these like eyes that would bleed and stuff like that. And not to mention the zombies here are a little smarter than your average undead. So there's some stuff going on that really leaves you holding your breath, worried for these people. Alive is 10 times better than Peninsula. So if you want to watch a Korean zombie film, forget Peninsula. Go watch Alive. I'm going to give Peninsula a 4.5 out of 10. In comparison to, I'm going to give Alive a 7 out of 10. So that should tell you exactly where I stand on those two films. What a waste. So that's it, guys, and I hope you enjoyed this review, or a bit of a double review. If you did, please feel free to hit that thumbs up button. It's very much appreciated. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, please click on my face right in the corner over there, and you can check out past videos right along that way. So until the next one, guys, bye-bye.